Welcome to the Sports Card Lessons Podcast. I'm your host, Big Ken. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on a streaming service, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. You'll be notified whenever I drop any new content. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Happy Sunday. The football season is winding down. Divisional games this weekend. The end is near. Happy my Chiefs are heading back to the AFC Championship game. I was happy for their win. And we'll continue with this Arrowhead Stadium background. Thankful we have a snowstorm coming today. Happy to be home working on the podcast and just watching football. It's been a very busy weekend. My hobby weekend started Friday morning. I drove down to Bill and Billy's Sports Cards, the LCS in Newtown, Connecticut. Hung out with Bill, chopped it up. And then from there, continued on to the White Plains show down in Westchester at the Westchester County Center. And then I was up early Saturday morning to walk the Planville, Connecticut show. And up early again this morning, setting up at the New Britain show here in Connecticut. So it's definitely been a busy hobby weekend. I have a lot of pickups from the three shows, and I'll share those all with you later in the episode. But I started the weekend knowing that I'm going to Culture Collision in Atlanta next weekend and trying to buy inventory that I know will be somewhat liquid down there. Right now, trying to buy football, I know is very tough, right? So it's really ultra modern stuff that's just being pulled out of packages or stuff that I just have come back from grading, right? So that type of stuff, that just knowing what the people are looking for right now is really the only stuff that I want to get and hopefully move within a week or by next weekend. I also have all my cards that have come back from PSA. I have, I think, one more order. I have four more orders out there, but one is in assembly, so it's possible I could get another order before I leave on Friday. Either way, I'm definitely going to be pretty loaded heading to Atlanta, so I'm super excited about that. So let's jump into the episode. I headed down to White Plains on Friday, Westchester County Center, $15 to park. I was there. I got there at 1 o'clock for the 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. was the early bird, $35 admission. So besides the hour and 10, 15-minute drive down, time, gas, it's $50 before I even get into the show. And I went to this show last year, and I did a recap, and I recapped it poorly. Because not because I spent the $50, but I think I dwelled on that a little bit, that it was $50 before I got through the door, but the show was disappointing. The dealers didn't want to make deals. They were waiting for repackers to show up and buy out their cases at 95%, and they didn't want to make a deal for anything less. But this year was really quite the opposite. From my experience last year, I wasn't really expecting a whole heck of a lot. I was taking another chance, saying, let me give this a shot and see what we can do. I also knew the Dallas show was going on this weekend, so I knew that probably a lot of those repackers and maybe a lot of people who would normally travel to come to this show were probably traveling to the Dallas show. But I was pleasantly surprised to find that dealers were willing to make deals. There were a number of dealers that had cards that were overpriced and weren't listening to any offers at all. And you're going to find that at any show you go to. You're going to find people like that. But this show definitely had dealers that were willing to make deals. One thing I did notice, that there was a lot of new dealers A lot of new faces behind the table, which to me was a good sign too. Not the, it's not the same old, right? Um, I certainly saw a lot of familiar faces, but it was nice to see some new ones behind the tables too. And again, I just mentioned Dallas, and I think with Dallas going on this weekend, there were probably a lot of dealers that went to Dallas, which opened up some tables for some new dealers to set up. So uh, I'm probably the most easygoing guy at a card show. Regardless of what side of the table I'm on, I respect everybody's opinions. I respect the prices that people put on their cards when I'm at the shows. I try to be respectful when I'm on the other side of the table and I have a card. Say if I had a card that's marked higher or over comps, um, I'll tell people right away, you know what? I know I'm high on that. And I'll tell them why. But I'm not going to let them believe that I think that that card at this moment is worth that. It's just the price that I'm putting on that card. And most of the time that card, and I know people will say to me all the time, I know when you hear me say this, you're going to put a comment. Well, why would you put the card in your case anyways? You never know, right? I was the guy that said, and if you go back and listen to early episodes, I was the guy that said, I'm not going to be that guy. Put that card in my case and have it overpriced and have to explain to people over and over again, right? But then I would start leaving that at home, and people would be like, "Oh, what I'm really looking for is blah," and I would pay over because that's what I really want. And I'm like, "Oh, I have one of those, but I just never brought it with me," right? So then I started thinking, you know what? People would say to me all the time, if you got cards for sale, bring them to the show, put them in your case because you never know what's going to happen. So I made a point of putting those cards in my case and saying, hey, this is where I'm at. I'm going to tell you right up. I'm going to notify you. I'll tell you right away. As soon as you say, hey, what do you have on that card? First words out of my mouth, if I know I'm high, I'm going to say, I'm high on that card. This is what I got. This is why. Right. And sometimes there's just cars that don't sell a lot, right? And maybe you have a low, maybe there's one low comp on it, and everybody wants to jump on that, and they want to remind me. They're like, "Hey, the last one sold that." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I can't be near that." I keep it respectful, right? I want to be treated like I treat people. So if I go to a show, even though if I'm walking the show, I'm not the dealer, I'm going to treat you like I'm hoping you're going to treat me if you come to my table at a show. Um, and when I'm buying at a show, I don't think we need to spend a whole lot of time. I don't think we need to dance all around it. Give me your price. I'll give you my price. If we're close, we try to work it out. If we're too far apart, thanks, appreciate it. I don't need to tell you how to do your, but you know what you're doing, right? Just like I don't think anyone needs to tell me how to do my business. So uh, that was probably one of the nicest parts of this show. Getting deals done and buying cards is what do you have on that? I can look up the comps, right? And I mean, everybody's looking up the comps. I look up the comps and say, hey, I see these last couple sold here. I'm not asking to buy this at, half price or 75. Look, I'm willing to make you a good respectable offer on the card. I'm not going to disrespect what you've got going on there. And I generally offer pretty strong, and usually coming in with somewhat of a strong offer, you can get deals done, right? If somebody's got a card for $100 and you come in and say, 50, it's probably too far apart to get that done unless it's, way overpriced. And I'm just making up these numbers, but if you got a card priced at 100 and the last one was 80, right? And you're coming in at 70, you're probably going to be able to get a deal done, somewhere between that 70 and $80, So um, the one thing I don't do a lot of is trade. I feel when there's a trade involved, someone's always paying a premium. And unless I'm trading up into something I truly want, I don't wanna pay a premium. And if I see something I want, all of a sudden in my mind, if I'm not going in all with an all cash offer, if I'm going saying to myself, "Well, I've got these cards and I could probably work a trade cash deal," I'm prepared to pay a premium. I am. But if I'm getting up into a card that I truly want, I'm okay with that. But besides that, I don't do many trades at all. When I go to shows, I hardly ever pull any cards out of my case, to sell or trade. Uh, and almost every table I went up to on Friday, dealers asking me, "Are you selling? Let's see what's in your case." We're trading here, we're buying here, and I can say there were a couple tables on that Friday at that 1 o'clock getting in that were set up that were buying that had 3, 4 people sitting there, and there were 3 or 4 lines for each person, and they were just people just lined up with their cases to sell cards to these guys. And there were a lot of I don't know what percentages. I never, got up close enough in there to listen or to see what was going on, but I saw these guys buying a awful lot of cards there on Friday afternoon. So there was a lot of cards being sold, a lot of cards being bought. Just just here, go through my case, take what you want, make an offer, and let's get that deal done. Um, I did not I did not open my case, probably at all at that show, except to put cards in that I purchased. Um, if I didn't set up at shows, if I was not a dealer and I was just in the hobby going to shows like that, I'd probably be more inclined to open up and make some sales that way. And I know I talk about making sales, and that's another thing I'm super respectful about. If I put a sign up for buying and people come and say, "Oh, you're buying here, let me see what you have." I completely explain everything. I'll show them the last 3 or 4 sales, right? And I'll, you know, tell them what I think, and sometimes we get a deal done, sometimes we don't. But it's okay. That's part of to me, that's part of being at the show. But for a lot of people, nobody really explains anything to them and they show up. So usually when I am buying from somebody and I explain the whole thing and they're super thankful and appreciate you, get the deal done. When they see me, they come back again. "Hey, remember me? You bought the blah blah," and I think just treating them well, right? Keeps them coming back, especially, if you're buying stuff from them. And I know people will, you know, leave messages on here, drop a message and say, "Why are people selling you these cards at 80% or 80?" But this is kind of what they do. I don't know what they're buying these cards from. A lot of people are in breaks. They're getting these cards from Whatnot, right? They've overpaid to begin with. I've been there. I've been on Whatnot. I've got cards that I got, and then I show up at the show and I'm pricing these cards. I'm like, "Oh my God, you know what I paid for this card in that break?" But I just have to put it out for what it for what I can sell at or what it's been selling at. And a lot of guys, they feel the same way. A lot of people are showing up to sell their cards that are, and you could tell when people are in breaks or things like that. They have a ton of one team or two teams in their cases, and they're really just say, "Hey, make me an offer. Everything's for sale." Right. And it's almost for a lot of these people, it's just rinse and repeat. So yeah, people are super willing to sell their cards, below comps to cash out and go take another shot at something bigger. Uh, and as far as trading, circling back to the trading, everybody wants a premium on trading. I don't want to pay a premium. I don't want to do the premium either way, right? I don't want to charge other people a premium. So if they're coming up to my table and they have a bigger card and I'm trading up into it, Yeah, I may pay full price or get up to 100% because usually if I'm doing that or if I'm getting up to that, it's more of a PC card, right? I'm not usually at this point of my, where I'm at in the hobby, where my lane is, I'm not buying those big cards. I don't need to be into those big cards. So I'm not doing a lot of trading up. When I was trading up, if it was a card I want, I'd be willing to pay a premium, but right now, in my lane in the hobby right now, I'm not willing to pay any premiums. Um, so when I go to these shows, I'm just buying. When I'm set up at shows, I'm usually just buying. I'm doing very little trading. Um, and I know I've done a number of episodes over the 5 seasons on here on the podcast, referring to trading and leveling up and trading up to a better card. Um, And I'm just not looking to get any any big cards right now. Um, so unless they're Mahomes, they're rookies, they're autos, they're numbered cards, I'm probably all set. Um, and you don't see many of those cards out there either. I mean, a lot of these shows, I go out there, I walk around, and this is kind of what I'm looking for, amongst other things in cases. And I don't see very many of those cards at shows. And if you do, they're way overpriced, right? In fact, probably over the last 2 months, every time I've seen a Mahomes rookie card that's autoed or numbered in a case, the card is basically at least double, if not more, of the last public sale. And I don't blame them. I don't even get upset. I understand. I have one. I just leave it at home. I don't even bring that one out because it's more, to me, it's a PC card. Locked up tight here in the office. I don't need to bring that to the show because I'm not interested in moving that card for anything. And I don't even want to be tempted to move that card for anything. Yeah, so for trading, very few occasions that I've done this where the numbers have actually worked out evenly for me as a dealer, that I would have made a trade or make a trade. And a lot of times when I'm doing that, I take whatever it is and I put them on the case and I talk about this and I look left and I look right and I say, which pile would I rather want? And a lot of times what happens is the pile that I really want is what I'd be trading away. And then I end up just turning it down and saying, no, I'm all set right now. And then, then the on the opposite end, they're like, well, let's sweeten it. I'm like, no, I think I'm okay. I think I just want to keep my cards. And I don't know. I just get into this lane that I'm not much of a trader. I don't trade much at all. And I'm okay with that. I feel trades they have to favor somebody, and everybody wants to be on the winning side, right? And that's a whole other episode, right? People who have to be on the winning side of every deal all the time. Tell me what you think. Do you do a lot of trading? Do you need to be on the winning side of the trade? Are you okay paying a premium to trade? Um, I'd like to hear what everybody else's thoughts are on trading. Yeah, so the White Plains show, great buying show. A number of people called me on the way home on Friday, knowing I was there, asking me, what do you think? How was it? Were people overpriced? Were dealers willing to make deals? Uh, and then I got their phone calls on Saturday and Sunday when they were on their way home from the show. And it was definitely just as good show for them as it was for me. And I really think the Dallas show going on this same weekend really helped the attendees at this show get better deals done. Just my thought. So yeah, great show. And I always say, people say, well, you say it was a great show. Why is it a great show? Well, for me, I think dealers willing to make deals. And just me now, when I left that show and I'm driving home and I'm in traffic, I'm not mad about sitting in traffic. I forgot all about the $15 parking and the $35 admission. That's what tells me it was a good show. Um, so I was super happy going there after last year, giving it a poor review. So, and I know this show just changed hands too. It was Rock Solid for many, many years. Now it's Lucky's Promotion or Lucky's. Um, a lot of the same. I mean, the show looked exactly the same. Uh, and going Friday, early on Friday is where I like to be. Not a crowd. You get there, pay the premium to get in there early. You know, you're not being bumped into. You definitely get to talk to every dealer, look in every case, look in any boxes you want to. I actually walked that room twice in 3 hours. Um, you know, I walk through once, I make a plan, I go back the second time and make deals. Um, so I was super happy. I left there with some good deals. So up early Saturday morning, Planville show. I always talk about this show. It's always busy. I didn't have any pickups at this show. I did meet up after the show in the parking lot with Bill and Billy Sports Cards, and also my man Jay from Cardboard Collaborative. And I picked up a sealed box of Prism football cello packs. Um, and the plan was when I was buying it that I was going to, it comes with 12 packs. I was going to open 6 and sell 6. And Jay, I know you'd been wondering what happened because you were putting the odds saying, "Oh, Big Ken's going to rip all 12. He is not going to stop." So I'm happy to report to you, sir, you were right. I crushed that box. I ripped all 12 packs. It was worth it, though. There was a lot of nice gradable cards that came out of there that'll be heading off to PSA come Monday. So not all was lost. Not any pickups in there, but definitely picking up the wax from that show. And Sunday morning, up early, off to the New Britain show with the impending snowstorm on the way. The show was super busy. I sold a ton of singles over there, which I always do. I get 2 tables, and I have one 8-foot table with just all singles boxes on it. And I pretty much spend all that money from those singles, right, on other stuff that people are coming up to my table and selling. And I'm happy. I'm always happy it works out that way. Is I just feel like I'm upgrading, the smaller stuff into something just a little bit bigger, or maybe something that could go into a showcase. I was set up over there next to my guy Rich, Zwittlebug Cards, and just having my buying sign on my cases, really attract a lot of people just to come over and give me the opportunity to buy some of their cards. And you know what? I print out on a colored piece of paper, buying, I put it in a stand, then I put it there. But, I spent all day going through people's cases. So it was definitely worked out well for me over there. I had one guy say, "Hey," I was looking in his case and he's like, "You like this stuff?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, I live right around the corner. I can run home. I got boxes of the stuff I could bring back." I'm like, "Yeah, bring them on back. Perfect." I spent the afternoon going through boxes over there. It was, it was great. I mean, like I said, I had a lot of pickups, nothing earth shattering, right? But just enough liquid stuff that I think I would move pretty quickly. And that's really what a lot of these small local shows are all about, right? I don't set up at these shows thinking I'm going to sell like a ton of high end cards, but the singles boxes, people love digging through them, and a lot of people come in that are selling stuff, and sometimes you can find some good deals. One side of the room was just super busy with people. And my guy, Rich, said to me, I think we're set up on the wrong side of the room. And I'm like, I don't know why there's so many people over there. So I took a walk over to see what was attracting everybody. And I realized that whole other side of the room, or that portion of the room, was all Pokemon dealers. Right. And then I started looking around. And I said, I think there's as many Pokemon dealers than there is, just regular sports dealers there. Uh, and it was interesting because it wasn't that long ago. There used to be like the one Pokemon guy, and Pokemon, yeah, that's so and so over there, right? It was always just one guy doing Pokemon, and then there was a couple of them. And now there's so many dealers. I think they could probably have their own Pokemon shows, right? At this one, just show here up on the stage, they had a Pokemon tournament going on, and that was packed too with people. So I do have to say, I mean, I think there was probably more people at this show, for Pokemon than there was for other sports. And it's amazing how quickly that lane grew in the hobby and how popular it is right now. I'm going to share some of my pickups with you. I'll start with what will we start with? Let's start where we picked up down in White Plains. So I picked up a bunch of Mosaic, a lot from so these are all Bo Nix. Let's see, so these are all Bo Nix. The blue, the camo, the yellow, and the green. These are all Mosaic Prism Bo Nix cards. And if you're on YouTube, I'm just holding up. They're all raw, and they're all in the One Touch. So again, rookie quarterbacks, pick these up. Not spending a fortune on them. So whatever I can move this week, I will, and whatever I can't, I may sit on for a while. Especially with Bo Nix. Going down to Atlanta, I picked up some Michael Penix Jr. But here, this was J.J. McCarthy. This was the Disco Prism. Pick that up. J.J. McCarthy. So I picked up the Fireworks Disco Prism. Hold that up. I picked up this Capital Gains. This is numbered to 49. And this was big. Downtown Michael Penix. I think that'll move pretty quick in Atlanta this week. At the show today, I picked up Bijan Robinson Green Velocity PSA 10. Again, with Atlanta in mind. I picked up this Transitions. This is numbered 8 of 50, and obviously Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, just a dual patch. Player worn, but not game worn. Deion Sanders. I'm not sure if I shared this with you. This I picked up. I bought from somebody online, and this got delivered. Limited monikers. Deion Sanders autograph number to 25. Michael Penix Jr. This is the absolute autograph number to 299. Drake London, purple prism, purple cracked ice prism, numbered to 225. Again, with being in Atlanta. I'll share these two with you right now. This was a Tony Romo. This was nice. It's a triple threads, numbered to 36. This was just kind of a cool card that I picked up for no reason, that I just thought it was a cool card. Peyton Manning, the NFL 100. This is numbered to 199. Jalen Hurts, light blue prism. This is numbered to 299. This is a 2021. This is the second year for him. The Mahomes Crunch Time. Save that one for last. Bo Nix, by Storm. Michael Penix Jr., rated rookie retro. Jaden Daniels, prismatic. And Brock Bowers, prismatic. And one of my favorite pickups from the weekend that will go into my PC is a Creed Humphrey autograph, which I was super excited about. And it actually, this card came with a little story. The guy came up to the table and he had some cards, and I pulled this out and I saw this and I said, "How much do you want for that?" He said, "I think it's like $2 or $3." And I just put it aside. I said, "Sold." Then he said, "I think I better check the price." And I said, "Yeah, check it." So he started looking. He said, "I think I was a little low." And then he says 15. And then I looked and I saw there were some from $7 to $12. And I said, "Well, you do 5." And he said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm halfway to another card he wanted to pick up. It was a mosaic Jaden Daniels. That was $10. And I said, "Halfway? Like if you had the $10, you'd buy the card?" And he said, "Yeah." So I just gave him the $10. I said, I'm happy to have this card. Here's the $10. Go buy." Then he came back and showed me the card. So it was kind of a super cool moment. Certainly not a big spender here, right? Not a big deal, but it certainly made his day. And usually when I can make somebody else's day, it makes me feel a little better. So I was happy about that. That's all I've got for you. I'm off to enjoy the second half of the Eagles-Rams game. I am looking forward to tonight's game, Bills-Ravens. And I will be back Thursday. I hope you guys like that, the Hobby Chop, that episode, first episode last week. A lot of good response from that. Happy about that. We're going to continue that on. We're going to be back again Thursday with a brand new episode. And if you haven't listened to it, definitely go back and give it a listen. That one was an hour and 18 minutes. My apologies. Some people are like, "Wow, I love these long episodes," but I know most people don't. We're going to try to cut it back to an hour, but it's hard if you're having good conversation to quit quickly. So we're going to do our best. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And if you like what you hear, please definitely subscribe. And most importantly, tell a friend and spread the word. Till next time, take care of yourselves and everyone around you.